Hey everybody, welcome back to MyAndyBuck.com. I'm here with my good friend James. James Labrie. You started with Victory back in October.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, we did a sales campaign back in October, and the first thing we do at Automax is we do a recruiting campaign where we recruit candidates, and we basically invite them back to training that they have to show up for on Thursday morning, and then we have a selection process. So James, you actually went through that process. You went through the interview with me, and then you came back that Thursday. So how was that process? How did that process feel to you?
I felt the process was a little nerve-wracking in the beginning. I definitely lost a little bit of sleep, but once things started going on and we got to the interview, I felt that the interview went really smooth. I didn't know for sure if I sealed the deal. And then I found out I had a second interview.
Yes.
So that definitely made me a little more nervous, and from there I just was praying and hoping to God that I would get the chance to be able to seal the second interview.
So what we did is we did a half a day of training, and then after that half a day of training where I go over kind of an overview of the car business and what the expectations are going to be, and I go over the pay plan. Then the managers come in and they interview the candidates. And one of the managers came in, Brian came in, interviewed all of the candidates, and then unfortunately it's my job to come in and tell the ones that are staying that they get to stay, and the ones that have to leave have to leave. So let me ask you, James, how did that go for you?
Well, so the dealership got an anonymous email about me that was not true or accurate whatsoever at all, but it kind of made me feel a little disencouraged. And then Andy came in and said, hey, so I have a list of people who are hired and a list of people who are not. It's not that the job's not a fit for you, it's just you might not be right for this dealership. And I automatically assumed my name was on there because I thought was a cursive J. And I went to go walk away, and Andy's like, what are you doing? I'm like, listen, man, I see my name. I know it's my name. I'm out. He's like, take a seat. And I sat down, and look at me here today. So
I think I said, sit down and give me a minute, all right?
I was trying to be a little more polite.
So anyway, James did sit down, and the rest is kind of history. He was chosen to go on. And what we did is this dealership did a week's worth of training. So, many times when you're in a dealership setting, the dealership says that they have training, and some of them do, and some of them do a really great job of it. But the reality is the sales managers don't have time to truly train the new recruits. And in this particular case, we had quite a few new recruits coming in. I think we had 6 coming in. That were coming into the dealership. They were going to be brand new, and the management was going to be working on selling cars. So they asked me to train for 5 more days. So we did a day and a half of training, and then I left. We got everybody onboarded. I came back and I did 5 days of new recruit training. And so let me ask you, what did you get out of the new recruit training? Was there anything that you felt was really valuable coming through that?
I felt that training got me more prepared for the floor. I felt that it put me a little more at ease being new to sales and never doing really a sales position other than what I was doing before, which is kind of retail, which really isn't sales. I felt that I learned a lot about the car business, how the car business works, and I feel Andy's process and training literally builds you to being the best that you can be and be most prepared when you go to the floor.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind word, James. In your all's case, you guys hit the floor running. If I remember, it was like 12:30 on Friday, and I'm letting you loose, and I'm trying to take TOs and trying to help you go out and get people. And,
absolutely.
So it was a little bit of trial by fire. But did you feel comfortable going ahead and taking a customer, even on that Friday afternoon, that 5th day of training? You only had really 4.5 days, 5 days of training, and you hit the floor. Did you feel comfortable doing that with all the process that you'd learned?
I definitely felt comfortable. I mean, being, the first time for anything, you're always going to be a little nervous.
Yeah.
But your training definitely put me at ease to being able to walk up, to be able to meet and greet, to be able to build a quick relationship, figure out what they need, and go over everything that I need to do to be able to figure out what the client's expectation is for the day.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this, James. I appreciate your time here, and I know you've been doing that since you've been doing this since October of 2000. So through COVID,
Yep.
It's been a tough deal with the masks and everything. Hopefully we're coming out of that.
Hopefully soon.
How many cars on average have you sold every month since you started in October?
I would say an average of 25 to 30.
25 to 30 cars. 25 to 30 cars. Now, you have a knack, okay? I cannot take credit for your personality because, James, you've got a phenomenal personality and you're great. But do you think you would have achieved that many sales if you hadn't had the training in the beginning, if they'd have just thrown you out there on the sales floor?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Even with Andy's training, my first car deal took me somewhere between the lines of 4 to 5 hours, but that was due to a lot of inconveniences on the pre-owned lot and on the new lot. There was a lot of stuff that wasn't ready and prepared. But without your training, I would have just been like, hey sir, how are you? Oh, you want a car? Let me get you a car. I would have not known the process. I wouldn't have known to appraise his trade, to figure out what his needs were for his vehicle, to be able to seal and close the deal.
Thank you so much. One last question. If you were talking to, let's say, yourself back in, let's say, September. Okay, you're talking to yourself back in September, and you're thinking about getting into the car business. What advice would you give yourself, or what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself to maybe not be as nervous, to be as dedicated as possible, which I was. But I would also tell myself that it's not something so serious where you have to lose sleep, where you can just be yourself, and being yourself really sells in this market nowadays.
Gotcha. So if somebody were planning on getting into this, do you feel like this is a life-changing position?
Absolutely. This career has changed my life. I went from here to up here, and I couldn't thank the dealership and Andy more than anything in this world.
Thank you so much, James. I appreciate it very much. You're a rock star, and glad to have you on.
Absolutely.
Keep up the good work.
It's good to be here.
Awesome.